like science.
I like science.
I like science.
You've got an itch on your scratchy back
Science.
and neck and stuff.
I'm always itchy. I swear.
Uh-huh.
It's allergies and I'm just always itchy.
You shouldn't have taken so much buff out. For those of you watching Fallout.
Yeah, well, sorry, but it wasn't my choice to have buff out pumped into me for a day, but
Yep.
it is what it is. By the way, if you're a video game fan and you've played any of the Fallout games, definitely suggest the Fallout series. It's very good.
Yes.
And
it's very accurate.
it is very accurate, but at the same time, not following a specific plot line from any of the games.
Yep.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, it's a new story, but told in a familiar way.
Yep.
And you can see bits that would relate to stuff that you'd see in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So anyway, so we've got a shorty for you today because we're talking about an episode of the animated series, which is More Tribbles, More Troubles.
Yep. Season 1.
Season 1, episode 5. And
yeah, so early days.
Very early days.
Of
like
the
this
animated series.
This was released in the year I was born, which is 1973.
Yeah.
So, and I remember watching all of the episodes on television, but then, they weren't available anywhere for a while. And so it wasn't until I was well into adulthood that I was able to see them again. So,
yeah, or on Saturday mornings sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. There's never seemed to be anything consistent about Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, it's like either they had the licensing or they didn't.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'd have Star Trek available to play and sometimes they wouldn't.
Yep. Anyway. So, yeah, I guess we should just dive right in because neither of us are getting any younger.
Yeah, I guess we start with some really long establishing shots of the Enterprise.
Yeah, just to chew up time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It's like, okay, they're staying on this shot for a long time, especially, according to modern television.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, that's
just watching the ship drift through space. You're like, okay, I think we got it.
Yeah, well, that the actual drawing of the Enterprise is really good. It's very accurate. It seems like the saucer section is a little small for me, but and the nacelles are kind of like huge, but it's a cartoon, so artistic license. But yeah. Anyway, it's Stardate 5392.4. I wrote it down, you motherfuckers.
Yep.
And there's a Klingon battle cruiser that is apparently attacking a small one-person Federation craft.
Yep.
And apparently the writers of this episode have no idea how the warp works.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, because you could see them being at impulse, maybe? Because
they
if
were
this
definitely
battle
at
is
impulse.
taking place in warp, then why aren't we in the warp bubble?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is battles don't usually take place in warp because it's dangerous.
I mean, yeah, it can. We've seen it happen,
but
when
it's not
one
it's
ship's
not
chasing
preferred.
another through warp, but you can't
but they
have a
weren't in
ship
warp.
battle in warp very well.
No,
because they
it's not a good
reference
idea.
going warp 6 and warp 8, and it's like, how?
Well, and this is like, if you can see these ships in warp, then and they're fighting. No, it's obvious that they're not in warp.
Yeah, you'd
at
all
any
have to be in the
point.
same warp corridor to even see one another.
Yeah,
because that's the way warp works.
It's just kind of like, what? Anyway, so of course, Enterprise is gonna intervene.
Yep, trying to hail the Klingon vessel to get them to stand down, and they won't respond.
Yeah, and so they're trying to help the smaller ship, but unfortunately, the Klingons apparently have a new weapon, which is projected stasis.
Yep, that causes a
So,
disruption in your energy.
yeah. So it's a projected stasis field, which basically is like putting a fly in amber for a limited amount of time.
Yeah, it's reminds me of the ion cannons in Star Wars that'll
Mm,
hit your ship and disrupt your electronics, and you'll lose power until
hmm
you can reestablish and repair all your functions and be able to raise shields or go into hyperspace or whatever, or use your phasers or torpedoes, because they're all major functions of the ship are uh, basically turned off. You can't access them
hmm
as long as the field is active. And Spock is scanning, which is the sensors seem to work fine because
hmm
Spock is able to confirm that, and it's a hypothesis of his as well, is that this is a powerful weapon that must drain a lot of energy.
Oh yeah.
And so it's basically the only thing the Klingon vessel can really do at the time when it's using the weapon, because it requires so much energy they can't do anything else like ray shields or fire phasers or torpedoes
Or
or anything like
torpedoes.
that.
Yeah. And it's important to note that the Enterprise is taking two smaller ships to the planet Sherman's planet. Just that's
Yeah.
the name of the planet, Sherman's planet. And they're carrying a bunch of. Let me check my notes.
It's a kind of wheat.
Yeah, it's this. I can't read my own writing,
Yeah, it's a really
but
long word, but it's basically wheat.
I think it's Quinto Triticale. Well, Kali, they say it, but when it's in the original series, they said it's tri. Yeah. Anyway, it's like tritriticale, but like 5 times more. I don't know. Anyway, so you know immediately that tribbles are going to be involved
Yep.
because that was the problem with that mission is
Yeah.
the fucking tribbles ate all the grain and then started reproducing like there was no tomorrow. And we can thank Edward for that. What the
Hmm.
fuck, Edward? So yeah. Um, and basically they finally get up to they get to the ship and they are able to beam the pilot aboard, except they can't reconstitute him because of the stasis field.
Yeah, he's stuck
So
in the buffer.
he's stuck in the buffer. Yeah. It's not the worst place to be. I mean, Scotty was in one of those for
Yeah.
hundreds of years, 100 years at least. So, and when finally the Klingon ship loses power and can't keep the stasis field up, they're able to actually reintegrate this person. And guess what? It's Cyrano Jones. Ooh, yay! Good to
Yeah.
see him again. Not.
Yeah. Yeah, a con person dealer
hmm
that's yeah, the Klingons are after him and they don't know why. And of course he's not going to tell them, but he's brought with him a bunch of tribbles. But they're
Yes.
not usual tribbles because they're not born pregnant and they can't even reproduce. And
And they're
they're
all
also,
pink.
yeah, they're all pink, but I think that's just to save costs in the animation. They just chose one color, and I think the pink stands out against the backgrounds. And so you're not using pink for much else. So by having the tribbles be pink, they show up well on screen.
Yeah,
And
it's weird to
yeah,
me.
yeah, you'd think you'd be able to color them all different, but we're thinking this is really cheap animation, and to
Oh
save
yeah,
costs, they're all going to be colored the same color.
but why
And
pink?
yeah, they're bred to be friendlier too, so
Yeah,
they're more like loving and affectionate with humans, I guess, or with anybody. But yeah,
yeah.
they don't reproduce, but they do eat a lot and they grow bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So their
And bigger.
metabolism has changed. So the more they eat, the bigger they get.
Yeah, great job, dude. Don't
And
know why
there's a
you did
running
that.
gag of a tribble in Kirk's chair, the captain's chair. And he keeps like moving the small one out of his chair so he sits down. And then there's a larger one he moves. And there's a bigger one that he has to push off the chair.
And then
Eventually
there's
to
a
one where
giant
he's
one.
standing is like
It's like as big as
Spock
he
asks
is.
him, "Oh, why don't you take a seat, Captain?" And he's like, "Well, I prefer standing right now." And there's this giant tribble in his captain's chair.
It really is as big as he is.
Yeah,
So that actually tickled me. I found that funny. Uh, there's apparently a natural predator of the tribbles, which is called a glommer.
a glommer, Glommer, glommer.
Yep,
It's a little
glommer.
weird red creature with eye stalks, and they don't actually show it eating a tribble because, of course, we're talking about a cartoon that's, you know,
Yeah.
geared towards children, even though the storylines are often a bit more straightforward Star Trek, but it's aimed for Saturday morning television. So they just set the predator next to a tribble and they cut away to, the crew observing what happens. And McCoy is like, well, it's neat, as in it's clean. There's no blood left over after this tribble predator eats one of them.
Yeah, it's it actually triggered something in my brain that I'm like, why does this feel familiar? And
Right.
it's not because it looks exactly like this, but it reminded me of head crabs from Half-Life.
Oh, I could see that.
So, because it basically just eats, if it gets on your head, it will eat your head and it will become your head.
And
It's
this
just,
is why we find Cyrano anyway, is because he found this creature
hmm
and this predator, and it helped him to make his probation early because he was using this predator to clean up after his mess from the last time he was involved with tribbles.
yeah.
As this predator ate most of them, so he was able to, do his sentence, I suppose, and get out early.
hmm Yeah. I just wrote in capital letters, they're so pink.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
pink. It's a pale pink, actually, I think.
yeah. So I think it's pretty. I think Cyrano Jones. I wrote down 3 federal mandates and 47 local mandates had been
Yeah, because
violated.
47, and we even announced that when we heard 47. This is 47.
47.
Anytime
Uh,
Star Trek needs a number,
yeah.
just throw out 47 for the hell of it.
I think probably the funniest and least logical thing that Spock has ever done in an animated series episode was to suggest to the captain that they throw tribbles at the Klingons.
Well, earlier when they had no weapons, Uhura was like, should we just throw rocks at them? It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
few, I mean, for a comedy episode, it's one of the few actual jokes
Yes.
in the episode, and it kind of lands flat. But then this was a callback when Spock suggests throwing tribbles at them, but that inspires an idea,
Mm.
which seems like the idea in the first place. If you're going to disable the Klingon vessel, why not just transport tribbles over to their ship?
Yeah, because well, it's been established in the original series that Klingons and Tribbles do not get along.
No.
So yeah, you flood the ship with Tribbles and and, that was funny because they did start freaking out and begging for the Glommer.
Yeah. And the Enterprise managed to get out of a pickle earlier when they used these robot ships that they were escorting. They could still pilot them remotely.
Mm-hmm.
So they had them do a pincer maneuver and ram into the Klingon vessel from either side. So they had to transport the wheat over because, this wheat is needed specifically to help this, I guess, starving planet.
Famine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was something I think Spock even brought up is like that wheat's required, for this planet Sherman or whatever you called it.
Sherman's planet.
Sherman's
That's the
planet.
name.
Yep.
And who is Sherman and why is he that egotistical?
Sherman's planet. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things that they named it after the general.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about Sherman's planet. I remember hearing of it before, but I can't remember much else
Right.
about it. So,
Yeah, usually they name planets after their star, like Rigel 4 or something.
yeah. Yep. So, yeah, basically they the tribbles that's how the tribbles are getting bigger on Enterprise, but they also basically throw them at the Klingon ship, not literally. And the Klingons are just like, just give us the Glommer, we'll leave. Just
Yeah,
let
and the
us
Glamour's too
want to go.
small to
Yeah,
feast on these
the
larger
bigger
tribbles,
ones. Yep.
but the Klingons don't know the size of the tribbles yet. They haven't opened the door and
Mhm.
realized. They just know there's tribbles on board.
Yep.
And so they asked just for the Glommer back because that's actually why they were pursuing Cyrano Jones in the first place, is he had found the Glommer,
Yeah.
supposedly,
Hmm.
and it was, I guess, the under the laws of like scavenging or whatever you call that, salvage, that's the word.
Yes.
That supposedly under salvage laws, he was supposed to be able to keep it. And they said there's no salvage on the surface of a planet.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a shipwreck, that's a different story. If you find a creature on the planet's surface, that doesn't make it salvageable.
No.
So the Klingons just want this back because it eats tribbles, and it was the only one. It was genetically created, it was made in a lab essentially, and it's the only one. Which Kirk even
Yeah.
brings up is like, surely you have others. And they're like, nope, this is the one. It's like, so is this all you want? And they're like, yep. Which is pretty funny because Cyrano was like, well, that's mine. I own it under salvage laws. And that's when they say, yeah, that's not possible. But
Yeah.
if you want to keep with it, you can already go back with it too. And he's like, I recant my request.
He does in a very low, quick voice. No.
No, it's like, I would rather not go back with the Klingons. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's basically the whole story.
Yeah, it's easy, it's breezy. There's a little back and forth here and there. There's kind of making Kirk look silly because that's, kind of where the comedy comes from. Like they still have some tribbles on board, and the thing about them getting bigger is that they're actually colonies inside the shell of a larger tribble, which is weird and hurts your brain, and you don't want to cars it, which, is like when you stop and think about the movie Cars,
You
like
don't
who
know.
made them? Do they have sex? How do they reproduce? Why do they have steering wheels?
I
You know,
don't I don't want to know. I
yeah, if
don't
there's no people in
mm,
this universe, you start poking at it, you do the same thing with how these tribbles exist, that they're giant tribbles, but they're actually colonies of tribbles living inside another tribble. And if you like basically pop it like a balloon, it has tiny tribbles inside of it, and then you can deal with those individually. And so they do that, and Kirk's like, "Hey, you still have this one giant tribble over here," and then it pops, and he gets covered in a bunch of tiny tribbles
again,
again.
again. And
Yep,
he even says that's my own fault.
yep.
But it,
You'd think I'd
it's
learn from
always
this,
yeah. It's interesting how differently Shatner plays the character by doing just the voice. It's so understated.
yeah. There's something about him not being on screen that he's just reading.
Yeah.
And so it's not this stage performance because, he's a Shakespearean actor. He's been trained to act big for the people
Yeah,
on the
because
back row.
exactly. Yeah.
And you get that with most captains, Avery Brooks and Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart is a Shakespearean actor. You act big, you got a booming voice, uh, ge huge gestures, just make a performance out of it. And that's not really required on television, but because Star Trek is Star Trek, just having the captain be a big personality is just kind of part of the framework. It's part of the recipe, I guess, when you're cooking that pie, is to have the big captain. I mean, you get the occasional captains that aren't quite that, but when you think of the big ones, they're usually the Shakespearean people.
Yeah, well, the thing about Avery Brooks though is that he's not he didn't play it big voice wise. He was actually pretty soft spoken for the most part until
Right.
you pissed him off,
Yeah.
and then you were gonna get it.
Yes.
Yes, then if he was raising his voice, you better run
Hmm.
from Benjamin Sisko. So yeah. Gosh, that's really all there is to this episode. There is no deeper meaning to it. There's
It was
it's just
cozy, a little too
yeah,
cozy
little too
because
cozy. Yeah.
it was the kind of flatness in which they read the lines. It was the music, it was the animation style that I've been having a bit of a migraine today and it's just kind of sat back and closed my eyes for a bit and I fell asleep. I could still hear most of the episode, so I had to watch it twice.
Yeah.
But maybe next time you're having trouble sleeping, put on some animated Star Trek and just let it run. That might
Yes.
knock you out. Oh, you got a kitty.
I've got a kitty. He's so soft and fuzzy.
Yeah, there's not much to this. I mean, it's kind of that naval gray background that the ship has, even
Mm-hmm.
just kind of lulls you. The kind of long
Yep.
scenes, the flatness of how they speak sometimes. It's just in this cadence that'll lull you to sleep. It was not
Indeed.
exactly a dull episode. I mean, it wasn't really quick paced, but it is what it is. It's a Tribbles episode.
Yep.
um had this kind of God's eye view of the bridge of the Enterprise. You got to see everybody sitting, and it looked like Uhura is going to fall out of her chair the way she was lounging back in her chair.
Well, to be fair, they had been hit by the stasis beam and they were all kind of discombobulated for a
Yeah, her
bit.
legs like were way out, and it's like you're gonna
Yeah.
fall out of that.
Yeah. Well, seat belts would be, a way to avoid such a thing. But,
Yeah,
nobody's ever gonna fucking put seat belts on their ships again. So,
but I like the ones that you can activate, just like voice command or a button or something.
yeah.
That guy
That
wants
was one
pets.
yes. That was one thing that Star Trek Beyond really had in there in was seatbelts. They had seatbelts.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, which is it's a good idea in any kind of moving vehicle. Anyway, I don't know that we really have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, there's not much else. Just a little bit of Scotty at the transporter room.
Yeah,
So yeah, he had a little bit of Sulu. No Chekhov, but then
yeah.
I don't know if he's in the series. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. It's been a while since I've watched the animated
Yeah,
series, probably
maybe the
like
animated
3 or 4
series is
years.
kind of tied into the first few actual seasons of the original series, and so no Chekhov.
Yeah.
Didn't even see the Cation.
Nope, we did not see the vacation either.
Yeah, it was just the
Maress.
main crew for the most part.
Miss Maress. We saw Eric's, but he didn't have any speaking lines.
Right.
But there was a shot where you saw him from behind, so on the
Yeah.
bridge at his station. All right then. Well, that was quick.
That was quick. I mean, it's the animated series and it's the Tribbles episode, and there's really not much else to it. There's
Yeah.
really nothing to explore.
Nope.
So,
Really not. No
unless you want to
deeper
talk
meanings
about
here.
salvage rights on
No. Nope. No.
claimed planets.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No thanks. Do not want to talk about salvage rights. All right, then. Well, I guess we'll just skip ahead and find out what our next episode is.
Okay, let me bring up the website. And we're going from 956 because we have 2 episodes of Starfleet Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. I'm hitting enter. We have 339.
339 sounds like next generation territory to
It
me.
certainly does.
339, 339, 339. That is actually Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
And that is season 1, episode 9, Defiant.
Oh.
Yes. Yes,
Okay. I'm surprised
indeed.
we haven't done that one yet.
Nope. You
That
sure
sounds like a
haven't.
big one.
Yep, I'm guessing it's probably about getting the Defiant, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I wonder if
But
this
I'm
is the around the time Worf decides to move into the Defiant. Though that comes later, doesn't it? Where he's just gonna live there.
yeah, that comes later. Um, but yeah, and this is also because Worf didn't start out in the series; he came in
Nope.
later. So,
Yep.
but yeah, there we go. So, homework for next week is Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 9, Defiant. And at this moment, before I forget, because sometimes I forget to say these things, thank you, Dan, for letting us use your spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah, it's very convenient for what we do here.
Yes, and we appreciate it very much. And also thanks to Patrick for just being you.
Yeah.
And because he's like one of those people that's pretty much like, I'm gonna listen to it's dropped, I'm gonna listen to it right now.
Yeah, listens
So
to us immediately. It's because I'll click on episodes on, where we keep the podcast and it'll say how many plays and there's like 3 plays in it already. I'm like, geez, you guys. You're like
thank
waiting
you.
by your podcast or your podcatcher, just waiting for it to drop.
Yep, and we're not complaining about that at
No,
all.
it's nice. And Michael, I hope you managed to see Starfleet Academy by now.
Yes, because uh you, cards on the table, I fucking love it.
Yeah, well, I guess we could talk about that because the chances, we have what, a 2 in 956 chance
Mm-hmm.
to talk about Starfleet Academy right now. Yes, we do enjoy it. We've seen screeners. We've seen 6 episodes of it already.
We have.
We can talk about the first two, because the embargo has been lifted on those two. And
Mm-hmm.
like Holly Hunter as a captain. I like that she goes around barefoot. I like that she curls up on chairs.
Oh my
I like how
God, she's
she's
like a
basically a
cat.
hippie.
Yeah.
Uh, I like our group of students that we'll be following. That Gray's Trek guys kind of compared it to Xavier's School for Gifted Children. That
Mm,
they're kind of X-Men like. That they're all unique in some way and all have their special own skills and abilities and personalities, and it's refreshing. And I think I alluded to it dodging a complaint that can be leveled at a lot of Star Trek is that we're not paying enough attention to some people. I think this is going to avoid that because even in the first episode, we get a good bit of, little slice of every one that this show is going to be following. So,
yeah. And it's got very much an ensemble feel, even though
mhm.
Caleb is like our main person so
Yep.
far. But there's definitely going to be a lot of character development
Yep.
amongst the rest of the cast. And what a cast it is. I have no complaints with any of them.
Yeah, it's a strong cast, interesting characters. It balances comedy and drama and action well. You just get a little bit of each, kind of like Disney and Pixar do at, the best of times,
Right.
where you can really balance all the fill each quadrant of, what you want out of your entertainment and be able to deliver. I think it does it well. So
I agree.
happy with the first episode. Happy with the second episode. That
That's all you
Betazoids.
can comment on.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, that's as far as you can comment on your feelings.
Yeah. I don't even, because having watched it, I forget what episode takes place when, kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. Except, of
Yep.
course, the final one of the ones we viewed. But yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty cool stuff. It's a good approach to Star Trek that's familiar yet different, so it doesn't feel like the same old thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I like that it is set in the 32nd century. I think it's 32nd century.
mhm.
Because you have a lot more to work with that isn't going to have to come under canon
Yep.
scrutiny. Scrutiny,
Scrutiny.
scrutiny. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
had
think you said it
dyslexia.
correctly the first time, and then you were trying to
No,
correct yourself.
no, I said scrutiny
Oh, did you
instead
say
of
scrutiny?
scrutiny. I
Okay,
did.
just, yep.
I was dyslexic of the mouth.
And it's exploring bits of the future that Discovery didn't quite manage to do. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not the fault of
No.
Discovery, that
And
they had
Discovery
what they
was
had.
really about this Discovery family,
Mm-hmm.
So this is more about the world as well and post
Yes.
burn Federation and trying to
Yeah.
rebuild. And so it's fascinating in that respect. And so it feels a little bit like the first steps of Enterprise, reaching
In a
out there and
way,
exploring. But in a way, it's, trying to get back to what was lost. And, considering the framework of our society as it is, as it stands right now, the idea of a hope for a better future and correcting for past misdeeds, there's something inspiring about that I think people can appreciate when viewing this.
yep. And let's be clear. The children are the future.
Yeah.
They are. They are going to inherit the world that we leave behind. And I apologize right now to
Mm.
the youth of today for what they are going to have to deal with
Yeah,
because
especially with AI technology and algorithms
fascism.
and things that are specifically like bot farms that are specifically there to create misinformation and just flood young minds with the arguments from Jordan Peterson and stuff like that. It's just really some ugly stuff out there that
Hmm.
yeah, it's not a good time to be a young fresh mind, that's just going to
Yeah.
be prone to absorbing some of this nonsense.
Yeah.
Yep. It's to seek stuff that actually nourishes your mind rather than poisons it.
So yeah, kids, sorry. We're really sorry that this is what well, it's really actually the generation before us that is doing this. Oh, but that's not the point.
Mm.
So, because it's just a bunch of old white men,
Yeah,
messing
the
everything up.
boomers, Gen X, considering our upbringing, we should really be better at this than we currently are, but we're kind of
Hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why we're called the forgotten generation, is anytime people talk about generations, they often leave out Gen X, even though
Oh
they've
yeah.
named Gen Y and Gen Z and Gen Alpha after us,
Hmm.
we still get left out of the discussion.
Yep.
But also, we're not contributing much either.
Hmm.
So, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
'Cause I
we're
think
the
we were the
middle
first
child.
generation in a long while that did worse than our parents because our
Yeah.
parents absorbed all the wealth and passed
Hmm.
nothing down because that was Reaganomics. That was the me generation. And so the children of the boomers don't get much.
Yeah. Well, that's depressing.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So next week, back to Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
And yeah, so if you haven't watched Starfleet Academy yet, go do that.
Yeah.
And
Paul Giamatti. I think he rivals Khan as a villain.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And they call it chewing the scenery, and I think I can see that, but at the same time, you do not want to fuck with this guy.
Uh-oh, we're having cat fights.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no. Anyway, well, we should go then. So thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. And stay safe. Fight fascism, live long and prosper.
Yes, all those things.
Bye.
Bye.
Skilla.
Skilla.